How's Gervonta doing?
He's doing great, man. Hopefully we'll see him here tomorrow.
Oh, okay, wow. Okay.
All
Well, when should we expect him back in the ring?
We don't know, but it's coming soon, though, before this year's out.
I want Gervonta Davis to step in the ring and face somebody, dog, already, bro. For real. He'll be back. Like, oh, I know he coming back, dog. But I'm just saying, like, fight Shakur, bro.
However, for legitimate fight purposes, Gervonta Davis, to me, is the #1 attraction in boxing. He's the #1 attraction in boxing. He will finish you. Yeah. He will close. And this brother comes, and he's one of those guys. They call him, the mini Mike, as a Mike Tyson. Yeah. He's willing to take a punch to give it now. Yeah. And I haven't seen him hurt. He got bruised. Yep. He might have bruises, but I ain't seen nobody wobble him.
Tank Davis's coach, Calvin Ford, has confirmed that Gervonta Davis is gearing up for a comeback, and the boxing world is already on high alert. Stepping into the media debate surrounding the return, Stephen A. Smith made his position very clear, stating that Tank Davis is not just a puncher but an elite boxer who combines devastating power with genuine technical ability.
Gervonta Davis kept coming. So he can punch, he's a knockout artist. He can box, he's not given enough credit for it, okay? He closes, he finishes. Once he smells blood, he's like a shark in blood-infested waters, Molly. He will finish you, okay? And by the way, he is an elite boxer. And so the time has come for this man, Mayweather Promotions, PBC, Leonard Ellaby and Al Heyman and all of those guys. The time has arrived for us to stand down and to start giving Gervonta Davis the love and respect that he deserves. This brother is
And Stephen A. Smith does not stop there. He goes all the way, placing Tank at the very top of the sport and calling him the #1 attraction in boxing flat out, before going on to suggest who he believes would make the best possible opponent for his return.
You want to see him fight next?
Shakur Stevenson. I'm of the mindset that Tank is so much stronger than people realize, so much more powerful of a puncher than people realize. I want to see him up at the 140.
And then Tim Bradley cuts through all the noise with one simple and direct point. If both Shakur and Tank are truly avoiding real competition, then stop talking about it and just make the fight happen.
Shakur, that's all I'm saying, bro. Fight any of these top guys out there, man. And that's it. Because you can say, oh, Shakur ain't fight nobody. Well, shit, if Shakur ain't fight nobody and Tank ain't fight nobody, why don't they fight each other? If that's how y'all want to put it, fight each other. Bro, that will probably be one of the biggest fights in boxing right now, bro. The biggest fight. Yeah. Box office, it will sell out like this, like that.
And while the business and political debate surrounding Shakur continues to grow louder, there is one fighter who is not sitting around waiting for anyone to sort things out. Lamont Roach Jr. has made it absolutely crystal clear where he stands. He wants Shakur Stevenson. Roach firmly believes that when this fight finally gets made, it will be one of the best matchups boxing has seen in a very long time.
Shakur Stevenson, one of the best fighters in the world. I love to, get in the ring with Shakur. We talk to each other, and, when it comes to fruition, it'll come to fruition. That'll be one of the best fights in boxing, I promise you.
Yeah, I would love.
Sean Porter has shared the ring with elite fighters his entire career, going toe-to-toe with names like Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. Now, as the Shakur versus Tank conversation reaches an absolute fever pitch, he insists that anyone expecting a quick Tank knockout is seriously and dangerously underestimating exactly what Shakur Stevenson brings to the table.
He thinks that Tank is going to go in there and just knock out Shakur.
That's not going to happen.
But it shouldn't have taken this fight
I knew he couldn't
for people to realize that. Right.
I knew that too, but yeah.
Shakur is a defensive specialist.
And I've been saying this for a long time. If you pay attention to how Tank would react whenever Shakur's name came up, I was like, it's something that Tank knows that most people don't know or understand. There's something that he sees in Shakur. It could be the fact that Shakur was a 2016 silver medalist,
He got a lot to do with it.
He's that, the silver child of the...
Porter then shifted his focus directly onto Davis, arguing that this fight would demand a version of Tank that most fans have simply never seen before. Against the multiple layers of Shakur's defensive brilliance and ring generalship, Porter believes Davis would find himself making real-time adjustments round by round rather than simply hunting for that one shot to end the night early. For Tank, that kind of fight represents completely uncharted territory. And Porter is not entirely sure that the knockout artist inside him can afford to stay patient long enough to actually win it.
In a fight with Shakur, you're going to see this boxing style that you don't usually get from Tank. You're going to see IQ. We saw IQ, but to me, it was low IQ because the reason why it was low IQ is because everybody followed the script. And what I mean by that is you see somebody's IQ take place when a fighter makes an adjustment, and now you have to adjust to what that fighter is doing, and that's kind of where you see
who's smart,
you know what I mean?
Who's getting a hold of it.
I think my fight with Terrence shows a very high level of IQ from both of us. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And that's what Tank is gonna do with Shakur. He's gonna come into the ring and be a different version of himself.
Continuing his breakdown, Porter doubled down on the tactical complexity of this matchup, refusing to let the knockout narrative overshadow what he sees as one of the most strategically demanding fights that could be made in boxing today. He warned that when Shakur and Tank finally share the same ring, it will not be settled by a single defining punch or one electric highlight reel moment. It will be a deep, grinding chess match where every decision, every adjustment, and every single inch of ring space will matter from the very first bell all the way through to the final round.
It ain't just a big straight left or a big right hook coming from Tank that's going to end that night. That night is going to be the most strategical you've seen both these guys ever be in a fight. I don't know if we're going to ever get it.
I think we will.
You think we will, huh?
For sure. Who else is there if Tank trying to prove he's still the man? Who else you gonna fight?
I try to get a message to Tank for him to like make sure he understood. Like when you get past this legal situation, he's feel me on this. Tell me if y'all feel me on this. He's gonna be just like Mike Tyson was when Mike came.
When Terrence Crawford speaks on elite matchups, the entire boxing world stops and listens. And his verdict on Tank versus Shakur carries the kind of weight that only comes from a man who has stood across from the very best and figured them out every single time. Crawford is not throwing opinions around for the sake of content. He is breaking down a cold and precise technical reality that he understands better than almost anyone else alive in the sport today. His point is simple but devastating. Power without a clear way in is nothing but wasted energy. And against a defense as sharp and as calculated as Shakur Stevenson's, finding that way in is anything but guaranteed.
Tank is great for what he do, and I respect Tank in the ring and his skills and his power and his attribute and he's smart.
Yeah,
he's definitely smart. He can box his off, and I'm not saying I would pick Shakur just because our differences. I'm telling you as a fighter,
yeah,
I will pick Shakur because I don't believe Tank will be able to land those big shots on Shakur like he does.
And just when you thought this debate could not get any more personal, Terrence Crawford turned the heat up completely. Because Bud does not show up with stats or carefully prepared breakdowns. He comes straight out and says he genuinely does not like Tank Davis, and means every single word of it. But here is what makes Crawford's take so compelling for any real boxing fan. Even with all that personal feeling laid out on the table for everyone to see, he still looks you straight in the eye and gives Tank every single bit of credit he deserves as a fighter.
I really don't like that dude.
Why though?
Cause I just don't like him. Like I really don't like him. I don't like.
Just not your cup of tea. That's just not your.
I don't like nothing about him. You know, I don't like nothing about him. I just feel like, you know, he just one of these little arrogant little dudes that's, you know, using what he got to shield him. You know, like he got a lot of security guards around him, and he know, you know what I mean, he's in the limelight and stuff like that, but in certain situations he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I respect him as a fighter.
Yeah.
You know, he definitely got skills, he got power, he got tremendous.
Meanwhile, Coach Reggie Lloyd strips the entire conversation back down to the basics. Shakur is the better boxer, plain and simple, and that fact matters far more than people are currently giving it credit for. Lloyd's warning to Tank is about as clear and direct as it gets. You simply cannot afford to spot Shakur rounds early because once those rounds are gone, they are gone for good. And no amount of punching power in the world can change that math late in a fight.
Shakur's a better boxer. And again, like I was just saying about Tank giving away rounds. You can't give away 2 and 3 rounds to Shakur because you're not going to get them rounds back. as an opponent, ain't that your job to catch him? Ain't that your job to work on not letting him run or cutting the ring off? That's your job. So you can't say that the fighter runs all the time, or he's running, or he ran. It's your job to cut the ring off. If you go into that fight knowing that he's going to move around and he's going to, like, it's your job to cut the ring off. That's what you should be working on again. Not, don't lose and then make up the excuse that he ran. Because then now you're just making excuses.
Kenny Ellis has been close enough to elite boxing for long enough to understand exactly how the game really works. And he is not pointing the finger at Tank or Shakur for the delay. Ellis makes it very clear that both fighters have the heart and the amateur pedigree to step into any fight without a moment's hesitation. The ones slowing this down are the people pulling the strings behind the scenes, not the ones actually lacing up the gloves.
See that, when people ask about the Tank and Shakur fight, it just seems like, it's a fight that could possibly happen in the future, due to the fact that Shakur wants to stay at 135, saying he's too small.
I think, again, it ain't the fighters really, it's the ones that's in control,
Yeah.
Those guys had 100, 200, 300 amateur fights. They not scared to fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ones that in position to make the fight happen.
And that right there is exactly what makes this fight so dangerous for absolutely everyone involved. Because as Ellis breaks it down, Tank can look completely beatable right up until that one shot lands and changes everything in an instant. While Shakur has already proven time and time again that he is not just running and surviving, he is standing his ground and outboxing whoever is placed in front of him. Two styles so perfectly built to clash with one another that no matter which side you are on, that ring is going to tell a completely different story the moment that opening bell rings.
It'll be a great fight because it's like everybody say Tank always, they say Tank is behind till he land a big shot. Tank knows exactly what he's doing. They say Shakur outbox everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But, that's what keep everybody on their feet, you know what I mean? Their styles and what they do and what they've been doing in their previous fights,
And if you thought Ellis made a compelling case, Gary Russell Jr. takes it even further. According to him, this fight is not just good for Shakur, it is practically made for him. Russell breaks down exactly how Stevenson would operate, staying on the outside, controlling the range with his jab, and making Tank miss consistently all night long.
Tank, on the other hand, him fighting fucking Shakur, I feel as though that fight is tailor-made for Shakur. Shakur would stay on the outside and just box and not get hit. He's just gonna stay away from Tank. Tank gonna have to come forward. Shakur's gonna do what he does naturally. Tank, on the other hand, it's a little different. Tank ain't really a pressure fighter. Tank isn't a pressure fighter. He's not a person that's gonna walk you down.
He did with Frank Martin.
That's because he ain't had no respect for Frank Martin.
No respect, bro.
No respect.
And Russell does not stop there. He goes even deeper into the mechanics of why Tank's explosiveness, as genuinely dangerous as it is, simply will not be enough to consistently close the distance on a fighter like Shakur. He explains that Davis's power works best when he can plant his feet and load up properly. But against someone who reads angles and finds exits as naturally and effortlessly as Stevenson does, getting that opportunity cleanly is going to be an extremely rare occurrence.
Shakur's a better boxer. Shakur's going to move. Even if Tank faints all the time, Shakur's going to move. Tank is explosive, but he's not explosive in the way in which that he needs to close the distance with Shakur.
We got you.
He's explosive, you know what I'm saying? He's explosive with maybe one or two hard shots. He has to plant to do that shit. Shakur going to be moving. Shakur going to have problems with him that's just equally as elusive, that can move and close the distance and get up on it, start dropping that shit when he don't really want him to. That's when Shakur gonna have problems. Tank not gonna have the ability to do that. Tank is gonna try to sit back and hopefully try to catch Shakur when
Shakur now potentially has the chance to fight even Devin Haney as well. And that is exactly where Tim Bradley brings a completely different angle that nobody in this conversation saw coming. Because his take has nothing to do with who wins the fight, who has the better jab, or who controls the range. It goes much deeper than any of that. Tim Bradley is not even sure this fight should happen in the first place. And the reason he gives is straightforward enough that any real boxing fan will understand it immediately. But once you hear it, it completely changes the way you look at this entire matchup.
The fight shouldn't happen.
Should not happen? Okay.
Fight shouldn't happen. The weight's gonna be an issue. The weight's gonna be an issue. And this is the thing, right? Let's just say this, hypothetically, they meet at 144. Let's say Shakur beats him. Let's say that Haney didn't look good. You think Shakur gonna get the credit? No. He don't get the credit. You weight drain him. Just like Tank did with Ryan Garcia.
And Tim does not leave it there. Because for a fighter operating at Shakur's level, every single decision carries weight that goes far beyond just the result on fight night. The wrong fight at the wrong terms can quietly damage a legacy that took years of hard work and sacrifice to build. And Tim has seen it happen enough times in this sport to know exactly how that story tends to end. That is why his message to Shakur is as straightforward and direct as it gets. And honestly, coming from someone who understands the business side of boxing just as well as the sport itself, it is the kind of advice that is very hard to argue with.
Shakur has to go to 147. That's, you can't sell yourself short. You go 44 for what? Nah, just for the money? Nah, go to 147 for that strap. You know, if you're not gonna go to 147, don't even mess around with him. Don't even mess around with him. That's what I would tell Shakur. You know, because again, it's a double-edged sword, man, and you won't get the credit. Even if you beat him, you won't get the credit.
Continuing the breakdown, Coach Abdul brings a perspective that cuts much deeper than simply picking a winner. He points to a recurring pattern in boxing where former title holders leaned heavily on raw strength rather than refined technique, and argues that physical impact still ultimately decides fights even in today's more polished and technical era. But what makes his take on Tank so fascinating is that Davis does not fit neatly into either category. Abdul sees a fighter who can fall behind on the scorecards and still find a way to win the fight.
Most of the champions, not now, but we got some skilled guys, but for like the last 10, 15 years, all the guys that had belts had very little skill and all power. If you look at the landscape of boxing these days, the champions is really more powerful than anything.
I can't say that.
Not right now. Not right. For example, we want to say, for example, a Tank. Tank, we say he got skills, but because we like the look. But 9 times out of 10, Tank is losing on those scorecards.
Yeah, I think that's more so his style. To me, Tank.
And what Abdul reveals about Tank next is what truly separates this breakdown from everything else being said about Davis right now. Because the knockout power is only half of the story. The real weapon, Abdul argues, is the patience sitting behind it. Tank lets opponents settle in, feel comfortable, and repeat their habits over and over again while he quietly catalogs every single one of them. And then when that moment finally arrives and that pattern shows up one time too many, Davis does not hesitate for a single second. He converts it instantly into the kind of finish that reminds the entire sport exactly why he is who he is.
Tank is like a professional hitman, right? Tank will let you, like, you be walking around, you be running your play and this and that, and then like when you think nothing's gonna happen, yeah, Tank's like that, dude. He will he'll let you win rounds. He's taking pictures, and then right when you go to do the same thing twice, Leo Santa Cruz, he threw the same punch 3 times in a row. Turn his lights out.
So we talk about skills, we talk about speed, and we talk about power. Which one do you think got that's 5-star? And which 2 is, we just say 3-star, 4-star?
The power is, I think, you think I don't know, man.
Take away the power, he might have 4 votes. No, the power is 5-star. Take away the power.
Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Davis is exactly the kind of fight boxing fans have been waiting and hoping for. 2 elite fighters, 2 completely different styles, and a matchup that could change the entire landscape of the lightweight division. Skill, power, defense, timing, This fight truly has everything a boxing fan could ask for. But now the question goes to all of you. Does Shakur outbox Tank over 12 rounds with pure technique and total control, or does Tank eventually find that one explosive shot that flips the entire fight on its head? And if this matchup does get made, who do you think carries more pressure walking into it? Drop your predictions in the comments below and let us know exactly where you stand. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single boxing update, fight breakdown, or reaction. Thanks for watching, and make sure you check out our latest videos for more.